So we got the 2022 Spectral Mullet Canyon. It's 2021 on the frame. It says my 21, but it seems like it's the 2022 release. So we're late 21 now. It's been out for a little while. We got a Fox 36 Performance Elite on the front, factory DHX coil on the back, EX511 rims. So in Aussie dollars, this is $6,100. So we'll talk about the value in a sec. EX511 rims. I've got my flow on the back just so I didn't bash his rim in case, you know, it bounced off something odd. But yeah, comes with this EX511 with an 18 tooth ratchet, which is garbage. Definitely should come at least 36. It should be. They should all be 54. I don't even know why they make the 18. It's just garbage. But that's all DT Swiss. That's not specific to the bike. XT brakes, 203mm rotors front and rear, which is killer. SLX cranks, which feel fine. They're 170mm, so longer than I'd like, but I made sense of it. Yeah, you spend enough time and you get used to it, and you adapt. But to me, even climbing, I prefer to climb on the 165s. I can just spin along and maintain momentum better. On the flat at high speed, where there's not a lot of resistance, it seems the longer crank feels better, like a 170, 175. Still, as soon as you hit a hill, it just sucks. No good on the knees. But anyway, that's I've spoken a million times about cranks. Room for a drink bottle, which is killer. This frame, full carbon frame, is very, very stiff. Very stiff. It's kind of up there with the pivot, the Max 6 frame. That was super, super stiff as well. Feels good. Feels nimble. It feels knife-like on the trail. The geometry is excellent. So we've got a 64 head angle, 76 seat angle with a flip chip high and low. In the low position, 400 spring, which was oversprung, was still too low. I was still clipping pedals everywhere I went. It was horrible. In the high position, eliminates that problem completely. Brings it up to maybe a 76.5 degree seat angle and a 64.5 degree head angle. Like I said, 160 on the front, 150 on the rear. Componentry's killer. So we've got I think this is an SLX cassette, maybe an XT cassette, but it's very, very quiet. There's no cable rattle anywhere in this bike. The G5 handlebar and grip combo that it came with, those handlebars just felt garbage. I had to give this bike back because I didn't have my spring, so I couldn't get the spring rate to where I thought it would be best. Now I've got the spring back, I've got the bike back. He's also put a different bar on. He's put a Renthal fat bar on there, and it's just way more comfortable at the front, way more comfortable. I've set that fork up with no token, 160mm, cleaned the spring out. It's running killer now. It feels really, really sublime up the front. Could probably do with a little more PSI. I'm at 80 PSI. Yeah, I've got maybe 15mm travel left there in the bank after a decent G out. Feels like maybe I should go a little bit more pressure. That's 18% or 29mm of sag. 2 clicks of high-speed compression. So the fork feels good. The fork feels killer. The bike itself, the geometry is wicked. 170 dropper has me. I've got this slammed, which is just how he had it. I could have it a little higher and still have clearance for my butt when I'm flexing down steeper trails. But I didn't ride this on any steep trails really. I rode it Twisted Gum, Twisted Noodle, Moriata. With this 350, geometry wise, I can definitely ride it on steep trails now. Don't feel like I need to rise the front up anymore. At first I thought, yeah, definitely a 170mm stroke in the 170 spring in that fork to bring the front up, but not necessary now. It's where it should be, I think. But this rear shock, there's nothing I could do to get it to be compliant. If I overspring it and keep it in the soft part of the travel, right at the top of the travel, I can motor across most of the bumps, but it's super hard, like it's heaps of vibration, and as soon as you hit a big hit, like a big square edge hit that you can't float over, you have to take, it is harsh as hell. So the 350 spring, Much better for ride height, much better for overall quality of ride. The climbing was easier on the 350 than the 400 on the bumpier climb. It's just there's no compliance on that 400 for me, for my weight, at 75 kilos dressed. To me, it feels exactly the same as this shock feels almost the same as my Marzocchi on the Trek. So when I got the Marzocchi Bomber CR for the Trek, it felt overdamped. And I went back and forth with different setups and eventually came to the conclusion that if I get this compression lightened, it may give me what I want. So I sent it off, got the compression lightened, and it was night and day. It was way better, more compliance, and I could actually dial in a fair bit of compression. So I'm running 5 clicks of low speed compression on that shock now. Depending on the trail, I vary a little bit, but that's basically the sweet spot. 5 clicks of low speed compression. On this, it's the same thing. I can't add any compression because it's just way too harsh. So I run it fully open, and there's not enough low speed compression. There's not enough control out of the low speed compression circuit. So it's in and out of the travel, and then it catches bumps deep, and it's inconsistent with where it's catching bumps. So what I would like to do is back off the high speed a couple of clicks, which this doesn't have a high speed adjuster, it's all preset. Back off the high speed a couple of clicks to open up the stroke so I can add low speed to create control, compliance and efficiency, or create control and efficiency and have the compliance from removing the high speed compression. So pretty stand out to me now. It seems pretty obvious that that's the issue. Didn't matter what I did, I couldn't get it compliant. It's fast. If you're riding smooth flow trails, you'd leave this as it is. If you never see hard braking bumps and technical steep corners with braking bumps in it and ruts and whatnot, it probably wouldn't bother you. But if you're riding stuff that's got bumps and rickety rough and loose, you definitely want to change this tune or just get a different shock. If you change the tune, the shock will be killer. Coil, you can't go wrong. This is a super progressive frame. It's similar to my Slash. Apparently it's around 27% progression. So to me, that's too progressive for a bike. You can make it work. You can definitely make it work. But for me, I like 15 to 25. I think around the 20% mark is like sweet spot. So you can tune an air or a coil shock to suit that really well and have it nice and stiff off the top, but not wacky underneath that sag point. And it'll be super fast, super efficient bike. So like the Yeti platform is a perfect platform to make a fast bike out of. The Norco Sight's a perfect platform. The Trek Remedy's a great platform. I could make all of those bikes super fast. But this is just too harsh for rough tracks. So bit of a shame there, bit unfortunate. But outside of that, it's a hard bike to fault really, especially for the price. You don't get a full carbon frame with decked componentry. It's decked. It is decked. XT everywhere, EX511s. You don't get that for $6 grand. You don't even get that in a lot of alloy bikes for $6 grand. So their value is good, and it may drive other companies to start putting more realistic prices on their bikes instead of everybody's trying to be rich, instead of just helping people and sharing and making good things for people to enjoy. So this disease of greed, this disease of money, is hurting the industry, and it's hurting the guy at the bottom, the guy that has to pay the money for it. Rant over. Sorry. Assegai. I kind of make sense of the Assegai, but I'm not sure I rate it over the DHF on the front. But having my DHF on the back, I don't think I rate the DHF in a max grip at the back anymore. It's too soft to dig in and grip in there. Aggressor does a better job on the back, I think, for sure. The DHR2, if they start making the DHR2 in a DH compound, in a DH casing, in a dual compound, that'll be the back tire of choice, absolutely, no question. But they still only make it in a max grip, and the rubber's too soft to be on the back. You just chew through them, destroy them, it's a waste of a tyre. This Ergon saddle, not super comfy, but not uncomfortable. I've had to dip it in a fair bit to get the weight off of the bits you don't want weight on. And it's a little bit narrow, especially for a large bike. But I do like their indicators with how far forward you can run the seat, go a little further back than most seats. So on these rails, so you can actually slam it real nicely forward and have it in a really good climbing position. So that didn't annoy me. I could climb on this seat for a little while, no worries. I wouldn't rate it up as good as the WTB Volt, but it's better than 95% of saddles I've used for sure. So if anyone, all these people are making expensive saddles, just copy the Volt. Just copy the WTB Volt and you'll hit a home run, and put your whatever absorbent price tag you put on it. Dmr Death Grips, thick. I love these thick Dmr Death Grips, but you got to bang them on all the way because they're a tight fit, so you don't have to over tighten the clamp bolt and destroy your bars, especially if you run carbon bars. I guess I'm getting outside and getting a little bit ranty now, but the dropper post was good, the bike was good, everything was killer, but I just couldn't send it because of that rear shock. It's just too heavily damped. So send it off, light compression tune, and that'll give you all the tunability you want out of that shot, and you'll be able to send this bike. It will be incredible for sure, but you have to run it in the high position. In the low position, you just be pedal kicking everywhere, and it just doesn't feel balanced in that low position, regardless of 350 or 4 or 450. Doesn't feel balanced. So think of that as you will, but needs a retune, and then it'll be an absolute savage bike. Thank you so much for letting me borrow this bike, dude. It's been a pleasure, and I'll give it a wash now, scrub, and we'll get it back to you. Thanks.